Okay. All right. So it's 3:05. I hope I'm unmuted. And welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining us today for what is our second of our second Tuesday webinar series. Uh, Last month, we were focused on our skies tables. And this month, we're focused on one of my favorite subjects, math. And arguably one of the most important when it comes to graduation. So thank you guys for being here. We will have Julius presenting in the first hour, and then in the second hour, we have some awesome teachers that will be sharing in breakout rooms. I am going to, so the second hour is the breakout rooms. The breakout rooms are open now, but just wait until the second hour to move in. I'm sharing a link, and if you click on that link will show you the various breakout room titles. So when it comes time to move into the breakout rooms, you can decide where you want to go. So I'd like to introduce my co-founder, Julia Sue, who with all of our support has created Skies and is very excited to share math and a new feature with you all today. So thanks for joining us.
Great. Oh, it's great to see all you guys virtually here. Let's just get started. So the topic of today's PD is math. And as you guys know, math is about conceptual understanding, but mostly it's about practice and doing a lot of it and getting a lot of feedback and getting better and better and better. The more you do, the better you get. And most of the time when students are doing math, they're filling out things that look like this. They're filling out worksheets, right? You guys are all familiar with these sort of things. A fractions worksheet, Eureka Math has something on number bonds, maybe some decimal worksheets on my math. But it's all, fill in the blank, write some work, show some work, fill in the blank. You might get assessed, with a practice test, that sort of thing. But it very much looks like this. And if you think about it, worksheets are pretty easy to print out. They're pretty easy to assign. They're pretty easy to post virtually on Skies and have students annotate. But that's about the only easy thing there is about worksheets. They're kind of a pain in many respects. For one, there's limited space for students to show work, right? Like if you need more space on question 1 or you need more space on question 9, you're kind of out of luck. You have to kind of write everywhere. You're pretty much stuck with what's on the page. You can't just assign students like 1, 5, 6, and 2 unless you cross out all the others. They're not very flexible. And most significantly, they're kind of a pain to grade. If you have ever tried grading a worksheet, either in person on paper or via Skies, it's kind of a pain either way because students submit something that looks like this, right? And you probably have the key, the answer key, the rubric, to the side, you're matching, or you're trying to remember the answers, check. And they're filling out something like this, they're filling out something like this. And then you're giving them feedback that looks like this. Okay, these are wrong, these are wrong, these are wrong. Minus this, calculate a percentage. Or the same thing, again, you guys got all these wrong, so you got a 22%. Again, this is a fractions worksheet, not a decimal worksheet, you get a 0%. You have to go through all of these. And there's very little visibility. Like if I was like, okay, which question was the hardest for the students, you would not be able to pull that data up right away because it's all clumped in together into one sort of aggregate grade. It's hard to give feedback because everything has to be done on this page. You can't really just copy, give feedback. And finally, there's really no ability to differentiate with a worksheet. You can't say assign some students some problems and other students other problems. And so there is a better way, which is chunking. If you can break a worksheet together apart into multiple chunks, then you can do sort of things that are more flexible. So here's an example of a teacher who's been doing this. So this is Mr. Kaplan from Berendo Middle School. And you can see He's recorded videos of himself teaching different concepts about fractions. He's pulled in various resources from YouTube. He gives reminders about how fractions are actually division, how you have to flip it when you're dividing so you can multiply it. But the most important thing he's doing is he's breaking it down so that one problem goes onto one card. And that's sort of an overall Sky's philosophy, that we have these cards, and each card represents one unit of work for students. When you do it that way, everything becomes easier. For one, grading becomes really easy because you grade one problem at a time. Everyone should be getting the same answer, 7/8, 7/8, 7/8. So anyone who's getting 7/8, you can give a 4 or 2, and then you can look for people who are making mistakes, and then you can give them feedback specifically. And so the same thing. You'll notice that this card here is just a piece of a worksheet. It's been snipped from a worksheet. Jonathan can jog this many miles in 7/8 hour, find the average speed. But now you see a stack of student submissions, and you see how the teacher has just graded everything. Grade. Again, because you're only grading one problem at a time, and everyone should be getting the same answer, the grading goes a lot faster than trying to do one worksheet at a time. So students get that immediate feedback. So you'll notice a few things about this, right? First, he's not just putting the whole spreadsheet, the whole worksheet on and saying, do the whole worksheet. He's being selective. He's sort of curating the problems he wants to give to his students according to the level that they're at. The second is he's grading pretty quickly. All the grades are being assigned. I don't know if it's real time, but pretty quickly. He's getting through them pretty fast. The third thing to mention is that he can track student progress on a question by question basis, right? You can see here, you've got all these students here who are getting a perfect score on all this fraction stuff. And then you've got some students down here who are not doing as well, and one student here who only did one problem. So you can see at a glance who you might need to do intervention for. From the student's point of view, this is a lot more fun than filling out a worksheet, right? Because they're submitting things in like little bit-sized pieces. Yes?
Sorry, I'm just reading some of the comments. Did you start the screen share? You are, right?
I did, yes.
Okay, great. Okay.
Okay. You guys can all raise your hand if you can see my screen. You guys can see the screen? Okay. Thank you. Okay. So you guys can see the screen. Oh, that gave me like a little heart murmur there. Like, did I get 10 minutes into the presentation without my screen on? That's never happened to you guys, right? No, that would never happen. Okay, just me. Yeah, thank you. So yeah, from the student point of view, this is a fun experience, right? They're doing problems, they're getting feedback as they go along, they're getting graded immediately. It's almost gamified. It's very interactive. And I want to point out something here. Participation is high. This is a class of 30 students. 30 students are participating at the middle school level during distance learning. This is not the middle school where like you get 5 students, 10 students on a good day. This is 30 students participating every day. And in fact, the teacher said for the first time this year, I don't feel like I am teaching into the void. That's a direct quote. I don't feel like I'm teaching into the void, because this interactivity has made my students come together, participate, engage, and just sort of overall enjoy, well, dividing fractions. I mean, it's not the most fun subject, but they're enjoying it, right? They're participating, they're getting it done. So chunking has a lot of benefits. Okay, so that's my advocacy for that. There's only one problem with chunking. It's a big pain to do. Like, you're like, okay, yeah, but realistically, am I going to go through every worksheet and like use my little screenshot tool and snip and make card? It's a pain to set up. It's a pain to set up until today. Welcome to the new feature of Skies called Chunker. So let's start with this fractions worksheet. All I have to do is click ... and the first menu option there is chunk. And all I have to do is go, okay, I want to assign this problem. Let's make it a quick response, so students can just go ahead and answer it quickly. I want to assign this. I want to assign this. And I want to assign this. And all I have to do is click play. And what happens? Boom. We have math problems for students to do. And you know what? If you go ahead and edit this, you can go ahead and type in the correct answer. Oh, 35 minus 32, 3 over 20. Okay, I'm not going to be able to do all of these in my head. But now when your students type it in, like 3 over 10 or 3 over 20, it'll give them immediate feedback that they got it correct. So simple things like this, you don't even have to like grade. The computer will do it for you just because you've broken it down chunk by chunk by chunk. Okay, and this is called a quick response card. I'm going a little bit fast here because I assume that you guys are familiar with the different kinds of cards in Skies. If you're like, what the heck's a quick response card? Don't worry. At the end of this session, go to the breakout room for new teachers and we'll explain the different kinds of cards Skies has. But suffice it to say, quick response cards are cards that Skies can kind of automatically or semi-automatically grade because it groups all the similar responses together. And you could be, okay, this is right, this is wrong. All the similar responses get grouped together and you can grade them as one batch. So now the fractions worksheet, fun, easy to grade, right? Number bonds, let's do the same thing. Chunk, and this is from Engage New York. I'm just gonna go ahead and say this. Let me make it a little bit smaller. There we go. We expand it. And again, I'm gonna make quick response. I'm gonna make it a quick response. I'm gonna make it a quick response. The options, by the way, are quick response for the ones that students can type it into the box, regular if you want them to show their work and stuff, and multiple choice, which I'll show you in a little bit. So again, I'm going to run Chunker again. And the same thing happens, right? We get a thing where students can type in the answer. But this time, if we actually look at the problem, we see we might want them to show their work. Mike has 10 cookies on a plate, 3 cookies in the box. He eats 9 cookies from the plate. How many cookies are left, etc. We might actually want them to show their work. And so just as a review, if you guys want students to show their work on any sort of card, you bring down the teacher control panel, and enable annotate. And now your student will be able to go ahead, whoops, and show their work. So it could be like, okay, 10 crayons in the box, 5 crayons on the desk. Fran lends Bob 9 crayons. How many crayons does Fran have left to use? 6. The answer is 6. And so, all of the work can be collected into one tidy stack from this chunked worksheet. Okay, and then you can go ahead and give it a 4. Great, good job, me. And then go ahead to that. I'm just going to keep practicing because I love Chunker so much. My math, word problem. Again, just quick response, quick response, quick response, but it hasn't explained. So we got to remember to bring down the teacher control panel so that students can write down, more details. Quick response to write a decimal. Oh, and this last one here. Oh, this is interesting. Let's tag it as a multiple choice so that students will be able to, and let's say 4 responses. Good. So I'm going to run the chunker. And now I see here, okay, we've got these questions, the barn, the snack, the recreation center, the decimal. Oh, and here we got a multiple choice question, right? And you have to go ahead and say which one's the correct answer. I'm just going to guess it's B. I don't actually know. And then the same thing with this practice test. You can tag it as a multiple choice by going like this. So I'm going to make it smaller. And then I'm going to do multiple choice. Oh my gosh, standardized testing just became fun. All you have to do is select, select, select. And now you have something that you can just assign and have analytics on and be able to get visibility onto which questions are hard, which ones are easy for your students. It's so easy now. Okay, so that's the basic chunker. I'm going to go ahead and delete these because there's one more function I wanted to show you guys about chunker that could make it even more interesting for you guys to be using. But let me go ahead and delete all of this stuff first. I'll leave this here. So this way of like breaking apart worksheets is great. You get a lot of little snippets of pictures, but there are a few issues with this. First of all, you might notice that this is kind of fuzzy, right? It's kind of fuzzy, low resolution. And you can't change it because it's just a picture. It's just a little zoomed up picture, and it's going to appear a little grainy. Second of all, if I chunk something like this, it's kind of hard for the students to read, right? I mean, it's kind of like long and the text is kind of small. You can't change the text. You can't do it. It's just a picture. It's just static. It's just there. All the content is still kind of locked into your worksheet. You can't do much with it. It's just what you see is what you get. What if there was a way you could actually chunk stuff from your worksheet and modify it? That would be kind of neat, huh? So now there is. Now we can do that too. So let me show you how we can do that. For example, let's say I select this problem, and this problem. Oops, sorry. Let me make these quick responses so that students can actually put in answers. But instead of saying chunk as picture, I'm going to say extract text. I want guys to actually try to figure out all the words and equations inside these little chunks. If I run chunker, whoa, it figured out what the fractions is. It knows the math. And it can actually extract out the equation. And you could actually be like, you know what? I don't like 7/4. I want to make this like 9/4. Because my students have been like looking up the answers on the internet and cheating. And I just want to make things a little bit more interesting for them. You can do that. You can modify the questions you pull out of the worksheets now. You can make them your own. Let's say you're doing Engage New York and you're doing the same thing, like you're chunking this picture out. Actually, let me go ahead and pick this one out. I'll remove this one. Let's say you run the chunker. Whoops, that's the regular chunker. Let's run the more advanced chunker. So again, I'm going to say extract text. Now the word problem actually has the text that you can edit. And this is great because like, Castellar Elementary is like, hey, we love Engage New York, but could we have it in Chinese? And we'd be like, no, we don't want to go through uploading all those Chinese worksheets. Well, now they can have it in Chinese, right? Or they could have it in Spanish. Or Mountain View could have it in Armenian, which Engage New York does not have it in. Students can read word problems in their native language now and solve them without having that be a barrier anymore. It's just there for them because, again, we've extracted the text out of these problems. And you could even do fun things like, if you're going on My Math, you could be like, oh, Allison brought a snack, whatever. Oh, sorry, that was the regular chunker. Allison brought a snack. Let's go to extract text or run that again. And now it's like, this. And you could be like, well, there's no one in my class called Allison. This is going to be kind of boring. Let's do like, Ami or something. Amy. Amy brought us next in the coin string. Now Amy's for sure going to get this problem right? Because, she's invested in it. It's got her name on it. So we can be, doing fun things like this to worksheets as well. And finally, things like these SAT practice tests. Again, you can go ahead and just pull the text out. But not just that. It can not only recognize the text, it can also recognize, hey, I see A, B, C, D. That looks like a multiple choice question. So if I run this chunker, oh, wow, you can actually pull out the multiple choices as well. And it just becomes sort of a nice, immediately gradable thing that your students can get immediate feedback on. You don't need to be checking off all this annotated work. Okay, it mixed this one up a little bit. It's an imperfect technology. But if you have to fix one out of every 5, it's still saving you a lot of time. even at the last minute, if you're like, oh, I have a question I really want to ask the students, maybe as extra credit. Hey, write it on a piece of paper, take a picture of it, go ahead and chunk it. Oops. I know, like, you guys are like, oh, I don't want to learn LaTeX. I don't want to learn how to do all this typesetting. Well, now you don't have to. You can just take a picture of whatever you want to add disguise, and it will figure it out. Look, you got a multiple choice question from something I literally wrote 10 minutes ago and took a picture of. Well, an hour ago, not 10 minutes ago. And I did practice it to make sure it would work. The last thing I want to mention right now, what time is it? 3:25, plenty of time, is I know this is a math PD, but this is a technology that's useful for not just math, but all the other subjects you teach as well. Whenever we go to schools and we do these PDs, you know, we always like to show how easy it is to just drag like a reading from like News ELA in and have the students be able to just go ahead and read it on their computers, right? That's always like a fun thing for to do because, you know, it's got a lot of content and it's free. But then the question always comes up, what about the quiz? We're like, yeah, the quiz, you know, yeah, just put it in as a thing, annotate it, they can grade it. And they're like, that sounds like a pain. Like, well, now we can tell them, what about the quiz? The quiz is easy. Just put it in the chunker, right? And then extract the text, make a multiple choice question. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you give it a second. And now News ELA has a quiz that's already in Skies. And again, you just give it the correct answers and it will grade everything automatically for you. And everything will go right into the Skies gradebook and right into Schoology and right into everything you want to do. All right there, all in one package. Okay, so that's pretty much it for Chunker. We hope it's useful for you guys.